And we are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Arrow, which was entitled Due Process. It was episode 6 in season 7. That's wild. We're already 6 episodes in. It feels like it's been fewer than that. I'm here to chat with you guys. As you guys know, every other week I do a guest, and every other week I have no guest, and you guys, viewers, are the guests, and you guys can talk and chat a little more, and I'll actually be able to keep up with your comments and answer your questions and stuff. And this week, y'all are the guests, so I'm going to do that. So if you guys are joining, what I always do to start the episode, start the chat, is have you guys rate the episode on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 being it was terrible, you hated everything, and 5 being it was fabulous and you loved everything about it. And in addition to your rating, I'd love for you to get more into as well sort of what you loved and what you disliked, and we'll get more into that as well. But start off with your rating. I would say I'm giving this episode maybe almost a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed a lot of it, but it was so incredibly frustrating. But it wasn't frustrating in the way that, you know, like I didn't like the show, or like, oh, this is boring, or this is lackluster, or whatever. It was frustrating in that a lot of characters that I normally love and am rooting for were very frustrating, but it was also in an interesting way. I had a lot of patience with the frustratingness tonight, because we had Team Arrow coming back together, but it was almost to the point of, I tweeted about it was like this group project where, tell me if you guys have been in this kind of group project. I feel like you probably all have, where something needs to be turned in. You got maybe like 5, 6, 7 people who need to do it, right? And then, you know, the night before, you've done everything. You did your part. You outlined everything for everybody else. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I'll copy and paste my Wikipedia thing in like the night before. And then they like celebrate. And they're like, oh, wow, we got such a good grade, you guys. Like, we did so well. And it was like, you did the whole thing. That was what happened tonight. But I feel like it was obvious that was what happened. So it was like, I wasn't super frustrated with the show. I was frustrated on Felicity's behalf, but I felt like we were supposed to be. And regardless, there was some fantastic material with her confronting Dragon, with her. Let me tell you, worth the price of admission alone was the scene of her and Anatoly drinking vodka together. Iconic. Would have watched the whole episode like at a 0 out of 5 just for that one whole scene. Okay, let me see where you guys are all at. Bruna says, hello, lovely Miss Bruna. Stormy says rating is 3 out of 5. Bruna says 3.5 out of 5. Okay, so you guys are around where I am, maybe a little lower with it. Stormy says she loved everything Felicity. The rest of the team can just go away right now. They're treating Felicity like junk. I think they're treating the whole Queen family like junk. Like, there's been some pretty significant sacrifices that the Queen family has had to make, to put it lightly, right? So we have Oliver in jail, right? And I know some people care about Oliver and some don't. That's fine. I don't care about men usually anyways. I don't understand them turning on him, because he kind of did like a huge thing going to prison, so they would go to prison, especially since they had been like kind of betraying him and trying to kill him. For like a good number of them had been betraying him, trying to kill him prior to that, and then he like went to prison for them anyway. It was very biblical and sweet of him, right? And then you have William and Felicity left. William has to go into protective custody. Felicity's risking her life staying in town when she doesn't have to try to catch Dragon, which isn't supposed to be her job, because the FBI is supposed to be working with the remaining like team members of Team Arrow to catch them, and FBI's gone. Showed up for like maybe an episode and a half max. Didn't do their job. City's in danger. No one's doing any like justice for Oliver Queen thing, right? No one's appreciative of the fact that he went to jail for them. And like, I get not necessarily caring about the guy. I get that not all of them work well on a team with him, but like, y'all, really? Anyways, so Felicity's having to do everything herself, right? Tonight, the rest of Team Arrow finally shows up and copy pastes their one paragraph of Wikipedia into the group project. And afterwards, they're like, we're hot shit. We're going to go out for drinks. They go out for drinks without Felicity. Honestly, I've never been more like, I have to laugh. I have to laugh. Anyways, she went and had drinks with Anatoly, so who's a real winner here? But like, oh, Y'all, they're not shit. Anyways, in the chat, Curtis whines about his birthday and not getting credit. Just shut up. I'll give you a baby bottle. You're acting like a baby. That's a good comment. That's true. Curtis kind of always acts like a baby. So it's not really new, but it's like disappointed but not surprised. Stormy also says Oliver better have words with his now so-called friends who are treating Felicity like this, especially Diggle. Diggle hasn't helped her and told her to give up. Here's my problem with Diggle. I haven't seen him this season. David Ramsey is playing some character wonderfully, but that is not Diggle. Like, whoever's writing him fundamentally misunderstands a lot of Diggle's heroism. And I really gave them, like, wow, my hair is really a mess. Like, could not possibly be worse right now. I really gave them some, like, slack in the beginning of the season because I was like, okay, they're trying to do this whole thing of like he's very like uptight and by the book and whatever, and they're trying to do that. So we have two uptight by the book people. We have Dinah, you know, with the cop thing, you know, she's being like uptight, pro cop, whatever, anti-vigilante, even though she is one. So anyways, and then you have Diggle kind of doing the same thing. I was like, I get it. They've been trying to parallel Dinah and Diggle since the beginning anyway. Like, I get it. I do. But I was like, okay, so that's not going to be the team I'm on. Because I don't, you know, it's one thing to argue for pacifism, law and order, all of that. And pacifism, law and order are two different things. So let's start with that. It's one thing to argue for that in real life. But I do not need my CW DC show to be like real life, right? Like, I want a little bit of like elements of different perspectives on heroism. But I don't need them to truly like never kill anyone the way you might on like a Disney show before 7 p.m., right? And I don't want a situation like what we had with last year's crossover where you have somebody like Barry Allen letting a Nazi go because he's like, we don't kill people, you can just go. And it's like, that's not true pacifism. If you're letting a Nazi go, who's going to go kill a bunch more people because you personally won't kill him because you don't want that responsibility on your hands, that's selfishness. And that really doesn't fall under like a more complex understanding of passive. Anyways, you get what I'm saying? So I kind of get where they were coming from with it for the writing for that side of Team Arrow. But I'm over here like from a interesting plot line perspective, an interesting superhero like storyline perspective, appreciating that you have people like Felicity, and I'll even begrudgingly give you, I'll whisper it. Renee and Siren both. Did you hear that? I didn't. Who said that? You heard that Renee and Siren are all right? All right. I guess they're okay. I guess they're all right this season. I'll give them that. You have people like that who are willing to be cutthroat, right? And it makes for a good story. It makes for an interesting perspective of that side of heroism, whether you agree with it or not, whether you agree with it in fiction or not, reality or not, whatever, right? It makes it interesting. So what I'm struggling with is even if Felicity and Diggle have different perspectives on heroism, which they don't as much as you would think, like if you've paid attention to the past seasons, like they have slightly different approaches to the execution of their moral code, but their moral code is actually extremely similar. They just execute it in different ways, right? Diggle's been willing to kill his own brother, you know, Felicity, she's not really killed personally as much, although she has like stabbed Slade and shot it. Like she's done things to kill. She's not anti-killing or whatever. But their execution's different. Their heroism's very similar. They're creating this conflict between Felicity and Diggle that doesn't really need to be there. And from a plot perspective, doesn't always make sense. So it's a little frustrating. But it gave Felicity really good material to work with. So the rating for the episode is still pretty high for me. Okay, let's see where y'all are at. Bruna says, where's Diggle? I felt that. Stormy says, yeah, the writing for Dig is horrible. This isn't who Diggle is. Another comment says, Barry will never be my hero. Some people have to die for the greater good. Some people have to die for the plot. So we'll start with that. So if you have a hero that won't, like, kill villains, but their villains are killing people, I don't know. It wasn't there, like, a movie about that, Hacksaw Ridge or something like that? That was a movie that dealt with the concept of pacifism in a really interesting way. Another comment says, when Diggle said Felicity is the one who pushed him out, no, sir, that was you pushing her out. Here's the thing. Both of them have somebody that they love in jail while the government, like, even if you're going to be like Diggle's side where he's all like government and agencies and order or whatever, the government and agency had an order, had a deal, had a contract that they're not executing. So even if you care about that side, Diggle would be the one hopping on it. Diggle would be the one showing up in Samantha Watson's office being like, hey, we had a deal, you know, like, I understand this whole like concept of working for an agency and being the lead of things and, you know, having contracts with other agencies and someone's in prison and you had a deal, you know, like that would have been Diggle doing that. And don't get me wrong, I loved the scene of Felicity going in and working with Samantha, confronting Samantha. That was fantastic. But if you're talking from a perspective of understanding somebody's like heroic stance, that should have been Diggle. Diggle is completely like, we saw him a couple times, once or twice or something like that, going to visit Oliver in prison, and we know that like in the general sense he would prefer for Oliver to be out of prison rather than in it. But when Felicity's the one actually wanting to do the practical things that need to be done in order to do that, Diggle's like, I don't know, that's a little too shady for me. You work for Argus. What is too shady for you? I don't understand. Anyways, let's go on. What did you guys have as your positives, your favorite moments, the scenes that are sticking with you, maybe your favorite lines, the favorite visual, whatever? What was the moment that, having just seen the episode, because if you're watching this afterwards, we're recording this, literally the episode just finished sharing when I went live. What is the moment that stuck with you? Amanda Tavares in the chat says, Diggle showed up this season? I haven't seen him yet. Exactly. It's like, where is that character? Like, where is the person that we know and love? Any element of the writing. And this is not a critique in the acting at all. David Ramsey's flawless. This is not a critique in everybody else interacting with him. They're all doing a great job. They're all lovely. This is not anti-cast. This is not any, whatever, right? I'm sure the writers are doing what they can. Like, it's just the direction for his storyline is so off. And I don't know if it's a mix of they took the wrong approach to him, they're locked in and they can't go, you know, they can't really do much about it now, or if it is that they needed somebody to do this, to take this stance, and there was nobody else to do it, so they were like, I guess we're gonna write Diggle. I don't know what it is. Favorite moments. Stormy says Felicity was fantastic, so I can't pick a favorite scene. I love them all. I feel that. Amanda says Felicity and Anatoly together. The Fern very much alive on Felicity's secret room in the flashboards. Yeah, the Fern being alive. It's interesting you mentioned that. Well, two things you said are really interesting. One, you picked Felicity and Anatoly together. Pretty sure I'm gonna rewatch the episode tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure that's gonna remain my favorite moment. The Fern being alive. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all jump in. Did it not die or get smashed or something like that in season, I want to say 3 or 4? Something like that? Correct me if I'm wrong. I know they named it Yao Fei or Yao Fern or something like that. Like they had like this thing that they ran to try to figure out what to name it. But I feel like the Fern died, so I feel like the Fern being alive is supposed to be an indication that it's an alternate timeline. Am I overthinking this? Am I over? Maybe. Wow, my nail polish is chipped too. I'm really a hot mess today. Okay, another comment says, the government and agencies have abandoned Star City and Oliver. They had to be forced by Felicity to even do their job, and that was just one episode. Yeah, I feel like this whole season's theme is Felicity has to do everybody's job and beg them to do their job. And I'm not even complaining. Like, I know I sound like I'm complaining. I'm not even complaining because I enjoy, like, just the storyline format of Felicity does everything, everybody else is anywhere between 100% useless to 50% useless. I'm fine. I see it that way anyways. But I'm like, so I'm frustrated within story, not at the story. Whereas when you come to Diggle and the way he's written, I think I'm frustrated more at the story than within the story. Like, I'm not within the story frustrated at the character of Diggle. I'm outside the story being like, that character is annoying and that character is not Diggle. So slightly different perspective. Y'all tell me where you're at with that. Amanda says it is a new one, but if it's alive, Felicity's watering it and not dead. Oh, okay, so it's just an indication possibly that Felicity's alive. I like that just as much. Alternate timeline, Felicity's alive, any of those. I don't think Felicity is dead in the current future timeline, because if they want to keep using the current future timeline, they're going to want to show her, like, pretty much guaranteed. Stormy says, in the future, why did no one mention where was Oliver? It doesn't make sense to me. Well, it could be like a plot hand-wavy thing where the answer is simple, like he'll just like walk into the room at some point and they want to keep us wondering, so they're just not mentioning it till then. It could be it's an alternate universe and Oliver died long ago or something and it didn't even cross their mind to mention it. You know, like it's I don't know. I'm guessing it's like a plot hand wavy thing. That computer just made like some weird noise. I wonder if it's just going to randomly come to life. Let's find out. Let's see what else we have in the chat. Felicity's lair having the fern. Her passcode was Oliver's tennis ball test, but she's supposedly evil, right? No way. Yeah, I think in the future, I don't mind them being kind of ambiguous about, like, is Felicity alive or dead? Is Felicity evil or not? Because while I'm going to have, like, a strong stance, and I'm going to be like, Felicity's not dead. Felicity's not evil. There was a reason for her, you know, like, whatever. I'm going to be like that, but it's like, that means I care. Whereas if the whole future flash forwards was like, is Renee alive or dead? Or is Siren alive or dead, you know, like something like that, where I'm like, maybe even in present day, if I'm like almost kind of half sort of warming up to them a teeny weeny bit, in the future, flash forwards, I'm like, you know, like if they died, I hope it was an interesting death. If they're alive, you know, I hope they're being, you know, like I wouldn't care that much. So I like when in flash forwards and flashbacks in any given storyline, when the premise revolves around a character I care about being in danger, potentially being evil, you know, whatever, because it's like, even if I take a strong stance and I'm like, if they make Felicity truly evil, I'm gonna hate, you know, like at least I care. And if they do make her like evil, I was gonna say if they do make her evil, then I'll be upset, but like, will I? Will I be upset? I don't know. I kind of like evil female characters. You know, I think I would be a little upset because not because it's an evil female character, because I love evil female characters. I would be upset because it's out of character for Felicity, and it would probably indicate that there are writers who are interpreting like her current patterns thus far as like the makings of a villain instead of the makings of a hero, and I see her as the makings of a hero. But it doesn't matter because I don't think they're going to do it. But the fact that it's even a question gets me invested in the storyline. Another comment, just taking Dinah's word on Felicity's death. Nope, not buying it. Sarah Lance was killed on screen, dug up a year later to be brought back to life. Yeah, I mean, I'm from the mindset of if you didn't see the dead body, they're not dead. And if you did see the dead body, they still might not be dead. And if you did see the dead body and they are dead, they may not stay dead, right? Like, once upon a time, I don't know if y'all would have seen this. Y'all are young. Are y'all young? Once upon a time, I watched a show called Prison Break. Not only was the character dead, you see, if you're young, don't listen to this, you see her head, her chopped off head in a box, and she still came back to life. So, like, I don't buy any death on screen or not. Okay. Amanda says, the team going out for drinks without Felicity, what's up with that? That had to be intentional to show them being obnoxious. Like, that could not have just been an oversight of like I cannot imagine that that was just an oversight where some writers sit in a room and they're like, oh, the team's back together. That like feels so good. What if they go out for drinks after? Like, Felicity won't go, but like the other ones do. Like, no one paid, like, no one on that level of writing is, like, not going to think through that and be like, Felicity let this whole thing, and they're going out for drinks without her. Isn't that a little obnoxious? Like, it had to be intentionally done to look, like, obnoxious, out of touch, disengaged from the Queen family who's done all this for them, right? I feel like it was intentional. So I'm less frustrated with it because I feel like it was intentional. Like, the writers are aware that these characters are being obnoxious. And also, I'm not super frustrated with it because then it means that Felicity went and had vodka with Anna Tully, which is just so iconic, like on so many levels. I love that. The least obnoxious people in this episode went and had straight Russian vodka. That's great. Me too. Sign me up right after this. Anyways, another comment says Felicity's death, or so-called death, is a way to get interest. Most others we wouldn't care about. Exactly. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? We have about 1 more minute, so I would love to hear what you guys want to see going forward in the next, we'll say, 4 episodes. What are the storyline points that you want to see covered? What are you excited to see? What do you expect to see? What do you want to see more of? What's your wish list for from now till episode 10? This season, episode 10. It's so weird to think that that's coming up pretty soon. For me, I'm looking forward to, of course, Queen Family Reunion. That's going to be pretty cool. I hope it's after like dramatic near-death stuff. Like, let's capitalize on this being like a true dramatic superhero show. And on Arrow, unlike some of the other shows, they don't really do some of the drama of like lightning and time travel and speed running and meta, that what, you know, like when they do drama, it's in terms of like dramatic fights or dramatic near-death moments because their characters can actually die because they're not meta. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that the reunion comes after that. And it's super dramatic and cool. I'd like to see William come back present day. I like the future William. I think the actor's doing a really good job. I want him to stay in the future things. I like the casting and everything like that. But I also want to see, which just sounds so weird because I normally don't like kids on TV shows, but I feel like they aged up William really fast. Either that or that, like, he just hit a growth spurt and they're like, guess we're rolling with it. So I would like to see him return. I'd like to see more like Queen Family moments. Reza, bring Reza back. The hood reveal, I'm sure they'll do too, and that will kind of play into it. But I'm kind of tentative on whether I'll semi-spoiler consider that part of the like Queen Family unit, or if that's going to be part of Team Arrow, or if that's something else entirely. We'll just see how that dynamic actually unfolds. Okay, let me see what y'all are saying. Stormy says, I think Black Star is Maya, who I hope is Elicity's future daughter. Interesting. We shall see. Amanda says the Ninth Circle will be developed, and I really, really hope they make the Argus storyline make sense with Dante and his crew. Ooh, I hope Argus plays into the story as well, for 2 reasons. 1, it's taking screen time, so it may as well be interesting and make sense. 2, because Diggle is intrinsically tied to Argus. I don't want him untied from Argus. I like that, you know, Diggle and Lila are there at Argus. I like that that gives him like a place. Like, he's not just another member of Team Arrow showing up in the Arrow Cave, but he has a place where he gets to be a leader as well. I just want it to be better, I guess. Brutus says, first, I need the Elicity reunion. Yeah, and it better be good too. You know, they really didn't take advantage enough of their 9 p.m. time slot when they had it, and then they lost it. But I hope the Elicity reunion is good regardless, even if it has to be 8 p.m. quality. Amanda says, future William is so loyal to Felicity. I love him. Future William and present William. Love both of them. Like, William is a great character. And I kind of talked a lot of shit. Not a lot of shit. I talked a little shit when they were bringing on a kid. In my defense, the way they brought him on, I'm not sure it could have been worse. Like, the whole, like, William's, you know, mom and the whole, like, manufactured drama and that sort of stuff. Like, I don't know that it could have been written worse, but it'd take me a while to think of a worse storyline. But once he got there, like once we got William, he can stay. He's all right. He's a good fit. Very well written, very well acted, actually comes across as a kid, but doesn't come across as annoying in any way other than like just general occasional kids do like irrational things. Like when he showed up at that thing, like when Damien Dark was going to blow up, whatever, you know what I'm saying. But it's not too often, and he's also, you know, mature beyond his years, as the character should be after all he's been through, and just a nice kid, smart. Of course he is. Yeah. Stormy says, come on, we aren't Flash. Give us good love scenes. That's true. Arrow can have love scenes. Like, you can show love scenes at 8 p.m. if they're not incest. I hear that's why Flash can't show them, but it's fine. Arrow can and has and will again. So that's cool. Amanda says, who said that? Oh, she says, I missed the bunker. I don't know why I read that as he needs a brother. I thought you were saying like William needs a brother or like a sibling. And I'm like, the Elicity reunion, like they can work on that. You said you missed the bunker. That makes sense too. Yeah, on that note, I'm going to go. Next week I'll have a guest, but thank you guys for being my guest this week, for talking through your thoughts about the episode, chatting with me about it, chatting with me about what you liked, what you disliked, etc. Hope you have a really good week. If you are in the States and celebrate Thanksgiving, or out of the States and celebrate Thanksgiving, you have a fantastic, wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm very thankful for you all, and I will see you next Monday night. Bye-bye.